put together a chart of 12 steps that needs to be taken, and I want to go through those 12 steps with you so that I'm able to tell you and your viewers what is it that we've achieved and what is still work in progress that needs to be achieved. So the first direction I gave was that we need to have crowd management in place at the entrance gates, which means we need to have usherers to help Rajdeep Sardesai, to help person X, person Y. If this gate is clogged, which gate is a much easier gate through which you can enter. And there must be a command and control center within the airport that is monitoring all 16 gates so as to direct people. That, I want to report to you, has been in place since the 12th on the 12th of this month. So it means from the 13th, which is yesterday. The second step I said is that above every gate, all 16 gates, I want a digital board. Tells Rajdeep Sardesai exactly what the queuing time at each gate is. So when I get off my car and I come to this gate and it's fully clogged, I see on the board, you can go to gate number 11, which has only a 1 minute waiting time. And I will take my trolley and go to gate number 11. So that happens automatically. Again, I'm pleased to report to you, I'd given a target date of 13th of December, which is yesterday. All those digital boards, as you yourself have seen in the news, as well as on Twitter, are up on all 16 gates that tells passengers exactly where the waiting line is. Now, step number 3, I also said that DIAL as well as all airlines should put that feed directly on social media so that if Rajdeep Sardesai or any traveler is traveling to the airport, he can go to the Twitter site of the airport or the airline and see exactly which gate is the gate that he must alight on so that the least amount of time is spent getting into the airport. That also, I am pleased to report to you, has been done. The fourth step I said is, if you remember, we have a Naka about 1.5 kilometers before the airport, where the cars go through a little bit of a security check with those speed breakers. I said above that Naka, put a digital board as well, which very clearly identifies the waiting time. And that digital board has been put up last night as well. So 4 steps on the area of entry clogging at airports have already been taken. And as your channel has also reported, that problem has been resolved to a great extent today. We then move to the next area. The minute you or I as a traveler get into the airport, we go in for our security, for our check-in. Now, I was told apparently that there were 1 or 2 airlines, and I don't want to name them on your channel because the problem has been taken care of. If it hadn't, I would have named and shamed those airlines. 2 airlines in particular were not positioning their people in time for the peak hour traffic check-in process to happen, which is why lines were happening on the check-in area. That today I am happy to report to you has also been corrected, and those 2 airlines, not only in Delhi, but Bombay, Madurai, Guwahati, Patna, and Bangalore, have placed their people at the check-in counter so that there's no problem for our travelers when they go in. That was step number 5. Step number 6, when I took the meeting on the 12th of December, we said you've done 16 security check-in processes. I want that to increase every single week as we go by. So I'm glad to report to you that I'd given a target that on the 14th of December, the 17th automatic tray retrieval system or the normal system must be in place at the airport. And I myself had identified an area between 2 rows of security check-in where they had put a barrier. I said, remove this barrier, create the space for an additional check-in security check area, and that I'm pleased to report to you today has been done. So these 6 steps have already been completed as we speak today. Now, what is due in the next few days? There are 4 things that we are working on as we speak. A lot of the airlines and travel agencies issue tickets with barcodes. Those barcodes, in many places, the printers that are used or the paper that is used, those barcodes become unreadable. So when you and I go as a traveler for our entry, it takes a long time for the CISF guy to be able to scan that barcode and allow entry. So I have requisitioned all airlines that by the 15th of December, we must make sure that all scanning of barcodes is picture perfect, and therefore that facilitates entry into the airport. The second step that we've taken, as I mentioned earlier in the interview, is on the supply side. Today, peak hour landings and departures are at a very high number, which creates this clogging in the system. So we have said we need to reduce that by 10% and take those airlines into two options. Those flights must go into non-peak hours at T3 or should be transferred to peak hours to T1 or T2. That also will ease the pressure on the system within the airport currently. That should be done in the next 3 or 4 days. It takes a little time for airlines also to adjust their schedules. Otherwise, there's huge inconvenience to passengers. So that is work in progress, which will be done in the next 2 or 3 days. The third step that we're looking at is on the international side, on both ends. One, to install greater number of security checks machines on the international side as well as make sure that the landing cards are given to international citizens on board an aircraft, as opposed to waiting for them to disembark and then fill it up at the counter. Those processes will be in place in the next day or two. Longer term, we have 2 points that we're looking at. We want to increase the security check-in from the 20 that we have anticipated to almost 23 in the next 3 or 4 months. And longer term solution, get T1 operational, which is slated for operation starting next December 23. Try and move that up by a month or two prior to peak winter season coming in, so that the clogging does not happen longer term from next year onwards.